one. Okay, sorry, you said you're juicing? You're
I'm
on a juice
juiced
cleanse?
right now. I think all our fan parenthesis S close parentheses should know that Neil, the producer that he produces, just showed me the RSS feed, and it's legit as heck. And I just want to give a shout out, just a thank you to our partners at Able Bunny Entertainment, because it takes a team to make the dream, as we
Big
all
team.
know.
Big team over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, well thanks for that. I didn't plan on breaking the fourth wall, but here we are on World's Greatest Dad, episode 4.
I know, it's crazy. We only have 48 to go to make our
And then we'll quit
threshold.
because that's it.
Yeah. We're going to approach this like the BBC did shows in the early 2000s. Luther, 4 episode, 6 episode season. We're done. We're
That's it.
done. Yeah.
We did all there. I mean, and then your son's going, "Hey, I'm not 18 yet." And
Yeah.
you're like, "Well, this was the
I know.
key. I told you 52 episodes, man. That's
We
it.
didn't
That's
even
fine.
get through a
Figure it out on your own."
semester. We didn't even get through a semester of school. Speaking of, we're at a parent teachers conference. So if I'm going to be the world's greatest dad, I need to show up to this event. So I think
Zoom
we've got
through.
some business to get through here.
He's the world's greatest man.
What
What's
what are
going
you
on?
anticipating in the parent teacher conference? Are you dreading it? Do you and your wife just kind of sit back and kind of go, "Yeah, we're killing it. Like he's amazing."
Yeah, no, I mean, here's the thing. It's the stakes have gotten bigger. I think this is kind of the heart of why this podcast is interesting, is because when you're a dad at different stages. So, my son's in seventh grade, and, the school commitment really ramped up starting in fifth. He tries to take him to like after school things. Now he doesn't have time for that because he's got after school athletics, he's doing track right now. So a big thing is, and by the way, and it's been happening probably since fifth grade, maybe fourth grade, but I cannot help him with his homework. So I absolutely need these conferences. I need other professionals to help. I need their help to just make sure I can keep that train on the tracks, because I can't do this work. He's advanced. My son is just literally advanced beyond me. So yeah. Yeah. So what am I looking to do? Keep the old train on the tracks. And I will say this, it has been a real privilege to have been put into the school community that we have here. It sounds like I'm like plugging the school, but we moved to Austin, Texas, because at the time my wife was working at this school, and it was a great school for him to go to when you're in the big city hustle. I living in LA for a long time, it's daunting. The public school system has its challenges. A charter school system is competitive. Private schools are crazy expensive, and what's crazy is the school he goes to is expensive, but to be cards on the table, we have been able to apply and get financial assistance, which is pretty great. And there's a lot of eyes on him. My wife is very gung ho about him staying through the school through eighth grade, those middle school years. So, we're big picture folks. We want him to be happy. We want to make sure he tries his best. And that's pretty much it. Like, we're not sitting there going, I'm not some, type A CEO, high achiever, bottom line guy. But I will say this, being the son of immigrants, I still have that in me. Like when I would go to conferences and my dad would be like, the typical South Asian parent would be like, A minus, why not A? That kind of vibe, that kind of shtick. But if we got to any grades that had to do with pottery, uh, rhythm, percussion, he was like, okay. So he does very well in band. Actually, it's kind of crazy. He's really talented with music, and that comes from my wife's side of the family. They have a lot of musicians on that side. Brother-in-law's a professional
What's he
musician.
play?
He
What are
plays
his instruments?
piano, he plays trombone. Those are the two big ones. And what's really wild too, man, like this is like straight pride right here, is he loves anime. We watch anime together. He was showing me like a little clip And this is like, proper sound design, anime's big epic stuff, just like a movie. And he was like, I think I'm gonna play this. And I was like, you can play this on piano. And he showed me a YouTube of like the fingers. He goes, yeah, that part's hard. And it's like this. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like
Yeah.
do 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 do. It's like going bonkers. So
I'll be
pretty
honest, I got a
sweet.
little worried there because you mentioned straight pride, and I was like, oh geez, I don't know where Ollie's going with this. Um,
Oh my God. Please don't end the clip right there. I was just saying I am
you have
proud.
straight pride, you
Here's
said.
the problem. Here's the problem. The word pride and proud have other connotations. And then yes, straight. I am very proud, but I'm not a proud boy. I'm a proud man. Does that make
Yes.
sense? Is that
I
safe
always
saying?
thought I know we vowed not to get political, did we? But the
No,
Proud
we didn't
Boy
vow.
name I find fascinating. Like, these people who are like, well, we're proud to be who we are, and we're boys, and we're proud boys.
It,
Like,
it, it
what
yeah.
it's like, they may as well be running off with Peter Pan, and
It does have a Lin Manuel Miranda. Did I
Miranda.
say it right? Did I say it
Sure.
right? I
Yes, you
did.
did.
That was crazy. Big fan since he was a bit player on The Sopranos. I have to say.
Oh,
I
I
think
thought
he
you were
could
going to
have
say
a
since he
lot
was
of
at
fun.
Wesleyan. One of my best friends, one of his claims to fame is that his cousin went to Wesleyan with Lin-Manuel Miranda and beat him out for a couple parts.
You
And
know,
look at him now.
this is what's it's really funny. World who's listening to this is Neil and I don't know each other that well, but we have very similar paths. Like even though we're a decade apart and we've only met in person twice, but who cares? It's a digital age. We've known each other for years as well. But it's just funny, like when you dropped Wesley and I was like, yeah, Neil. No, that's cool. Knew a couple people who went there. Knew a couple people who went there. Neil went to Tufts.
That's right.
Tufts. Sometimes I confuse that with Tulane. You
Yeah.
know,
I almost went there.
college rankings. We know these
Yeah.
hit schools, if you will.
We took some
Oh,
Tulane kids in. It was during Katrina, It
oh
was the whole
wow.
thing. They had nowhere
Whoa.
to go to school for a year.
Wow,
Yeah.
you were in college during Katrina.
That was the big thing. Yeah.
My big thing, I mean, when I say big thing, I mean horrible tragedy. Pretty much at the end, it was senior year, Columbine. Now
Oh,
this
yeah.
is, and this is, like you would have to just, I was like at a bar and everyone's like watching the news and I'm like, what's this? And my friend's like, oh, you don't know about this? And I'm like,
This is
what? I
senior
don't
year
know.
of college for you?
Yeah, right? Wasn't
Yeah.
that 98,
It was like
99,
middle
99?
school for me, I believe. Yeah.
It's kind of funny. A couple years makes a big difference. Now it's like, okay, we're not too far off. But back in the day,
Now
it's
there's
like,
school shootings every day.
I know,
A
I know,
couple a day. Yeah.
totally.
But then it was
Huge.
really rare. It was really unbelievable.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe the documentary inspired people. Who knows? Who knows? I was a big fan of that documentary, actually, too. Michael
Oh, the
Moore.
bowling for Columbine.
Bowling for Columbine.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
is something going on with your sound? I'm hearing like a shh. Is that just me?
Yeah. I mean, I hear it, too. So let's look at all devices.
Let's move on.
Okay. We have a dead
I
podcast to
wanted
do.
to share this bit of good news, not for us, but for this guy in Michigan.
Great.
I was just on
Michigan.
my dad news kick, and I saw this
Oh, yeah,
headline.
it's been a minute. Here we go. News.
Michigan dad gets $1.1 million lottery ticket as a birthday gift. So this Michigan guy bought his father a lottery ticket as a birthday gift, and it turned out to be a $1.1 million winner. The point one's important because you got to pay taxes, So,
True.
Well,
Yeah, so it's a cool mill. That's
hopefully.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
The
nice.
guy said, I bought the ticket for my father as a birthday gift. I don't buy tickets often, but when I do, I always buy them at Liquorland because I remember my father always bought tickets there when I was a kid. My dad checked the ticket after the drawing. He had to look at it more than a few times to believe what he was seeing. The father and son said they planned to use the winnings to pay bills and invest in a business. What a memorable birthday gift for a son to give his father, Michigan Lottery Commissioner Susanna Schreckley said. Topping this gift will be nearly impossible, but sharing such a wonderful memory and a jackpot win with your family is priceless.
Yeah.
End quote. Wow, they're really like they were. I mean, this is the type of thing that the lottery commission's like, yes, like good press, we're just like gonna push this into the ether. Oh, look how beautiful this story is about this father son who won $1 million together. It's not bad. Gambling's great. Yay.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. I think it is a good W for the peddlers of the lottery, right? And look, the lottery's not going to go away. That's fine. People are going to do it. But what's funny is when you mention the years, and all the money that was put in over the years, if you could calculate that and consider inflation, because what's funny is, and look, I believe me, I would be stoked to win $100, let alone 1.1 million. But $1.1 million is not like, you can't buy a private plane. You know what I mean? Like, when you think of your wildest fantasies with money, $1.1 million is not really that per se. So if you were to offset the years that the person who bought it and their dad spent and inflation, when you clearly and smartly, accurately said, well, what about the taxes? You adjust for that investment. It'd be interesting to see what the proper windfall would be. But you know what? I'm happy for them. It is weird though, because there's something about it where it's like, I'm thinking about the Cats in the Cradle song, it's like, is it as charming as it should be? It's almost like, no, it's not as bad as like a dad and his son fishing and then going, hey, let's have a smoke together. I appreciate the bonding, but the act isn't quite as angelic as the act of bringing and raising life into this world perhaps is. I'm being judgy, but I'm just being honest,
You're saying we shouldn't be celebrating this vice. How dare he sin and give his father a lottery ticket?
There's a little taint to the water, You know what I mean? You go and get the really nice craft draft IPA, but it's not as fizzy as you kind of want. That's my take there. Mm-hmm. That's my take there. This is my son's hand from a long time ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah, this is one of my dad. It had writing on it, but it was from a long time. His hand is pretty much the size of mine, I'd say, or pretty close. Yeah.
This was the Father's Day present, birthday present? What is this?
Oh, it was probably in your era. Your son's 4, so probably around then he was like 5, and this is what school was. Now he's doing math. This is what school was. Now he's doing the math that I literally look at it, Neil, and I'm like, I might as well be looking at Mandarin. Like, I have no idea what it is. None whatsoever.
Right. Yeah.
I got a 560 on math in the SAT. That was more of a verbal guy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not great.
Devastating.
Yeah.
Devastating.
Yeah.
Neil doesn't pull any punches,
Look, I got 1350, and I was beating myself up because you take the practice tests.
Yeah,
it's never the same. Practice tests. I was like cool 1400 all the time. 1410.
Seriously?
1470. Oh, I got this. Then you get in the room and just can't.
I'd like to maybe do a podcast with practice, Neil. That might be. Oh, you know what? There's 2 Neils. There's practice. There's the SAT prep Neil, and then there's day of. But wait, you were in the 13s? It's respectable.
Yeah, that's right. I got 1350.
Yeah, that's. I was supposed to be in the 12s. Game day, choked a little bit. Oh well. So, thanks for tuning in to the SAT score I took in 1995. More importantly, you know what?
Yeah, I've thought about in the last few years. I'm like, I wonder how I would do today. Maybe we should do that, Ali. Maybe we should take an SAT and see how we score now.
I
With,
think that's a genius idea.
because in my head, I'm like, I'm so much smarter. 25 years later, oh my God, my vocabulary's expanded. To be fair, I probably don't remember a lot of this math, but I could catch up. But I
Yeah.
think we should take an SAT and see how we do.
I think we should do that. I think it would be great to have maybe some of our future guests, dads. We should all be like, hey, especially like what would be really interesting is I'd love to get a dad on. This is like, sometimes we have our business calls, but great ideas come and we have to spit them
Yeah.
out, write them in a Sharpie on a yellow Post-it. That's how I like to roll. But we should have dads that are dealing with the SAT stuff because there's essay now. I mean, not now. It's been going for a while. Oh yeah, it ain't just freaking
Yeah.
multiple
Yeah.
choice. It's essay.
Yeah, no, we didn't have the essay portion. We had there was a SAT 2. Did you take any SAT 2s?
No, there was some other test I could have taken. And I did ACT or something like
Yeah,
that.
no, that's the West Coast SAT.
Oh really? I don't know.
Yeah.
I was in the
It's like
Midwest.
but if you're an East Coast kid and you're like high strung, drinking coffee, looking at the U.S. News and World Report, you're taking the SAT. You're at a 1600. I remember for a moment they changed it to 2400. It was very upsetting for us,
Yeah.
because now my 1350 looks like a failure. I think they switched back. Anyway, enough about our glory days.
Yeah, seriously.
We should answer some questions from some
Yeah.
folks. So, Ollie, your fan Bruce from Carlsbad, which is a great
Carlsbad.
name. Carlsbad. Imagine being from Carlsbad.
That's where Legoland is, man. Legoland. Oh yeah, it's nice. Quite nice.
Carl's not good. Carl's bad.
I like that. Okay, I
thank you.
see where you're going with
So
that.
Bruce from Carlsbad wants to know, Ollie,
Mm.
I grew up with strict parents. My dad yelled a lot. My mother was allergic to fun. I swore when I became a parent I'd be the cool dad. Someone who listens, who's fun, who doesn't just say because I said so. But now that my kid's 7, the tantrums are getting worse. If I don't give her exactly what she wants all the time, I don't want to raise my voice, but I feel like kind of a dope who is constantly getting walked all over. She ignores me until I finally lose it and yell, and then I feel like a jerk. So Ollie, how can I set boundaries without turning into the parent I swore I'd never be?
Well, I feel for you. I absolutely feel for you because I definitely had the yeller, the angry dad, like walk on eggshells dad for sure. Big time. And yeah, that haunts me certainly. I would say this, my son's 13 now, so the tantrum and then the yelling back phase, we're not really there anymore. And I think that's probably my first piece of advice is this is what you're in right now. And it's tough. And this too shall pass. And, patience is king, and key or whatever. So, look, the other thing too is like, you're gonna lose it. You're gonna yell. I think about it. I think about those moments where I'm like, oh my God, I lost it. Why? All you can do is just, and this is what I would say to my son if he has a child later, is like, forgive yourself a bit. Like you're not going to be perfect. We all have our days. And more importantly, I think the art of apology is everything, like, because look, we are all humans. We're all flawed, like we're going to make mistakes. And, in the moment where your child's having a tantrum, like they are crossing a line, pushing boundaries. Guess what? It's going to happen again. Like they're going to cross a line, make a mistake. All you can do is go, okay, let's, emotions will cool down for both of you and revisit it. And certainly at 7, they're not going to absorb and process that stuff right away. I mean, look, heck, I know adults that have straight tantrums, I mean, especially in the world that we have come from, Neil, the old entertainment biz, there's adults out there that have tantrums too, maybe famous people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think all you can really do is just take it moment by moment and know that, when someone else is freaking out, it is natural for you to join in that kind of emotional distress. And all you can do is navigate, do your best, and hope that it gets better. And eventually it will. It will. And I too am haunted by, I think, the mistakes of my dad. But, the fact that you acknowledge it is a good sign. And you know, it's funny when I think about my dad, he didn't have a dad. My grandfather died when he was like 6 months old. So he didn't have that blueprint. So you have a blueprint. You know, you've been through it. You know what it's like to have been yelled at. So know that, acknowledge it, and try and the way your daughter crossed a line, you go cross a line too, and try and be better the next day. Tomorrow's a new day, man. You know, it's a 15-round fight. You know what I'm saying? You just got to survive till the bell rings, right? So you know you're gonna make a mistake. She's gonna make a mistake. It's all good. Just move on. Don't get worried. Don't get too hung up on the past a little bit. You know, you have every opportunity to just be a better person, be a better dad, just by making yourself better, adjusting to your own mistakes. I think your daughter will learn a lot from that. Damn, can we get that in the book? That was good stuff. This is why I'm doing this. Jesus. Yeah.
I like the 15-round fight. I'm thinking about Raging Bull.
Yeah, you know, I was thinking.
Go down, Ray. You didn't get me down, Ray.
I love how you know Raging Bull and you don't know Reservoir Dogs. It's like you stopped in the R section. You know,
yeah.
R-A, and I mean, you were so close.
So many of my film references, I mean, you know, I had a lot of time in high school. And so like, and that was the era of Limewire and Kazaa and Napster type programs. And so I'd get all these movies and I would just watch them on the home computer. Remember when it was like, you got the home computer, the downstairs, and I would just sit in a computer chair watching Raging Bull, watching Chasing Amy, you know.
I would watch those
Redemption.
on Laserdisc.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a pretty amazing thing because like Laserdisc it was like Criterion, but just as a product. Because Criterion would be, oh, we're very elite. You know, we're the Sundance Channel, we're IFC, or at least those things were elite. And then they all turned into reruns for whatever. One day I was like, why is the IFC channel playing like Armageddon? I'm like, it's over. This is not independent film. I may be speaking out of...
You don't want to miss a thing.
It's so crazy. But Raging Bull, yes, it is it's a marathon, right? It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's true, right? I mean, what do they always say? People will say this back to me on social when I post pictures of my kid. They'll be like, the days are long, the years are short, right? So she's only 7 for technically 365 long days. Maybe 8 will be great. Wow. Greeting card guy, you know? Look at that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I appreciate the authenticity there. You know, I mean, imagine if Hallmark wasn't like toxic positivity. They'd be like, hey, 7 was rough. Maybe this is your year. You know?
Dude, that would be amazing. Like, you know what? We could product line. Let's get on the phone with Hallmark. Also, although I'd rather approach Trader Joe's. I don't know if you've noticed this, but you know, as a dad, you may find yourself going, oh crap, I need to go buy a card for such and such holiday, like Valentine's or anniversary or wife's birthday or son's birthday or whatever. And then you last minute it and you go to like a CVS and it's like $8-9 for like just something terrible and cheesy for my darling beloved. And like the envelope's ripped. You know, like, but if you go to Trader Joe's, it's like $2. It's like 2005 prices. It's like we're back. Neil's on the downstairs desktop on Limewire watching Chasing Amy. You know, watching a young... Was Ben Affleck in that one?
Oh,
was it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has that big monologue to Joey Lauren Adams. It was formative for me.
It's just crazy for me to see young Ben Affleck, you know. I really, you know what's funny? I was a jealous young man when they won that Oscar for Good Will Hunting because, like, you know, I'd seen like some of the earlier Gus Van Sant movies and I was like, it's not a real Gus Van Sant movie. And now as the older me, I was like, yeah, but that's the one people actually will remember. You know what I mean? Not like Johnny Heroin, you know, cruising the streets of Portland, Oregon when he was doing the River Phoenix stuff. But I do quite enjoy on the doom scrolling when I catch the Ben Affleck monologue. that he does to Matt Damon. And I mean, it's excellent. It's excellent. So for all the shade I threw them back in the day from some random long-haired Indian kid in a North Face jacket and a ponytail that was probably a blip on their radar, I just want to say, Ben, you rocked Good Will Hunting. Love that monologue. I
Big
will
time.
watch it right now.
I think we're gonna need a photographic evidence of the ponytail. So please send that over to the folks at Able Bunny.
The best picture I had was me and Anthony Edwards. I mean, it was just him and me. He came to speak, and there was a picture of all my acting class. We were all with Anthony Edwards because he had gone to USC, and we had the same acting teacher. He gave like a talk to like the film school. You know, he had a proper discussion. This was peak ER days. He was on as a producer and stuff like that. And yeah. Oh, and there I was, with that long hair, listening to the fish. Whew, I got out of that, Neil. I'm a dad now. You know what I mean? I shook off those tender years. Now look at me.
I think you should grow it out. Let's get the ponytail back.
I think this is about as long as this might be peak length for me. But yeah, now I Dave Matthews Band, I could hear it now. North Face, wearing the North Face hemp bracelet. Now it's just the rubber. It's fine. Yeah, that was the old me. Shout out to the old me. Well, but I'm a dad now, and I've got dad work to do. So let's keep the dad stuff coming. Man, a lot of memory lane. SAT, me in college with long hair. Let's just trains back on the tracks, everybody. Come on.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of old, Ollie, we've got a question that might bring you back because it's about social media. So the days prior to this. So ready? This is from Alex from Sandusky. Alex writes, "Hey Ollie, question about unplugging. I told myself I was going to do a social media detox for a week. I lasted 14 hours before I caved and checked Instagram. How can I break the cycle of thinking I can live without it only to find myself scrolling mindlessly an hour later? Is detoxing possible in today's age?"
You know, I think you have to, you know what? I think any cold turkey's tough, right? I find this with food, you know, and where I found success in kind of like eating better and making sure this shirt still fits 3 years after I like dropped a few pounds is like, you know, you're going to do the thing you like to do. So you just have to decide when it is you're going to do it versus just trying to, I mean, look, and just like any kind of, I think of it like exercise. Best example. You went to the gym. You went hard. Came home. Next day you woke up so sore you could barely move. Okay, fine. So you know that A, you can't go that hard. B, you got to get back on the horse and do it different, right? So, you know, you'd lasted 14 hours. Try it for, you know, depending on when you're active. Sleep doesn't count, you know, but, you know, look, I think this is an easy one. Can you just go to bed? You know, can you just say, hey, you know what, after 7 p.m., I'm going to eat dinner, whatever. Maybe you look at your phone for a bit and then you get ready for bed and you go to bed because clearly you're not going to make a week straight up. And I feel like when I talk to anybody, they use the analogy a lot. I was talking to these people who have had a lot of success doing the YouTube. And guys like, you got to put the reps in. You know what I mean? People who and it's kind of a big thing. I started to follow more like fitness people and stuff like that. They're just like the people who are in shape. They're like, I've been doing this for like 20 years. You know, they're like, I've always been. When you look at people and they're like jacked and ripped, they're like they have spent most of their life dedicated to this period. So yeah, it's not just gonna you're feeling like, oh, I need to take a break and then all of a sudden everything's gonna work out. No, it's hard. That's why you need to do it, you know? So, you know, just start it up again and I would chop it up a little bit. But, you know, hey, first of all, congrats on trying because that's the first big thing. That's another exercise analogy. Biggest thing they say is like, you showed up, you know? But, you know you can't just do it like that. You can't go a week straight, period. So, you know, I would say, yeah, just give yourself a little more reasonable limit. and experiment with that. And you know what? I think you reached out to me. I'm sure, like, there's those forums and stuff like that. I wouldn't go online to look for them, but you might have to. You might have to just a little bit. Might have to just go on the old desktop Reddit. Maybe you'll be next to Neil at his desktop computer, But yeah, man, you just gotta like get back into it. But obviously, you're not gonna make it a week. That's fine. Let's not kid ourselves. Start with a couple hours. Let's just shave that off and see how long that can keep going consistently.
Do you ever leave your phone at home? You ever just like go take a walk? Or do you need it on you? Because what if your wife has to call you? I mean, that's the problem. It's like I've thought about like, do you get a dumb phone? And my wife's like,
Yeah.
what do you do with a dumb phone? You need an extra phone?
Yeah, no, I mean, I there are times where, so I'm in an interesting scenario because, and this is also how I roll, but like when I go pick up my kid, pick him up, he'll like look at my phone. I'm not like, no, you can't look at my phone. My wife's like, no, you can't look at my phone, but I'm like, whatever, you can look at my phone. There are times where I will go, and look, for me, it's a short drive, it's 15 minutes. Um, Everything should be fine. And there are times where I'm like, I'm not going to bring my phone. I think I can get by and not need it. It's a way for me to kind of evade him not looking at it and whatever. And there you go. And so, yeah, it's funny. It's like, you can always make the argument that like, oh, what if something happens? Sure. But what if your phone didn't work and something happened? You'd have to figure something else out. And I think within a certain amount of reason, you can say like, I will get by. I think it's probably one of the single greatest challenges right now, right? Is because this thing we have provides so much critical value, but at the same time, it's using so much of it's eating up too much of our time where we're actually being idle. And you almost, especially for someone like me that's like meant to have a following, you could spend so much time working and not working and thinking you're working, but you're not. So it's like going to your office and you're like, I'm just like, how much did you really get done? I think that is more so a bigger deal with if you happen to use your phone for any kind of work, like, well, I guess we all do, but certainly social media. It'd be one thing if I was like, I'm checking an email, there's no posts on email. So, yeah, it's real tricky, but I will actually, I think too, some things are a little more interesting. Like, I don't know, just something like, I think part of it is doom scroll, right? You're like, or like, I was thinking about this earlier this morning. My dad would be like, stop flipping the channels. It's like the same thing. Like, TikTok is basically just, I'm flipping channels, which is interesting and pleasurable, but at the same time, you stop and you've kind of gotten nothing out of it. I remember Netflix is the same way, like, it'd be at night, I'm like, I want to watch something. I'm not watching anything. It'd be cool if I just pick a show and watch it and actually go, yeah, I watched that thing. I intook a story, I understood it, I experienced it, and I liked it. I didn't like it, but I'm better for it. But just kind of like being indecisive, like looking at a menu at a restaurant, never picking a meal, that's what's, I think, really challenging. So I actually think walking with the phone with a podcast, like this one, hint, hint, like and subscribe, is a great way to just go, okay, I'm going to actually focus on something. I'm going to be productive with my time. I think that's the underlying issue, right? How can we be more productive with our time? And I think what kills us is just poking around, looking around for something. It's like, nope, what am I doing right now? So yeah, I think like just almost like going, I'm gonna like get serious, Neil. I'm gonna watch the rest of Paradise that my friend Sterling K. Brown is on. I'm gonna watch that. Like I think about that like doing 15 push-ups. I'm focused and I'm ready. I am not gonna core firm, remote in hand, press Hulu button on Roku, watch episode 3. Don't pick up phone
Isn't
while
it wild?
watching
That's
show.
how low the bar is. Is like, can I have the discipline to sit in a chair and watch this show without
Yeah.
simultaneously going like this. And do you
Yeah.
watch with phone in hand?
Yeah, it sucks. But I, look. There's different shows for different reasons. You know what's funny?
Oh,
I was
you're
having
saying
it.
Sterling's show is a scroll show.
Yeah, I'm early into it. You know what I mean? I'm early into it. Look, there's probably. I'll just say this, real talk. There's probably one of the most thrilling moments of my life that didn't have to do with just my own family was watching that guy win an Emmy. And I would happen to be in a hotel room. We were shooting Cheap Eats too, which was thrilling for me. And everyone, people are just people, right? You know what I mean? We all do whatever things, but we also, there are some people who are like aspire to do something that's like, yeah, we'll see how that turns out, right? And for me, I will definitely say this. I'll be like, that was an amazing moment. Because first of all, like, the world didn't know who Sterling K. Brown was. Yeah, granted, he was on People versus O.J. Simpson, and he's been a working actor for 20 years, which is very, very commendable. Literally. Like, he graduated NYU Film School, and he just started working. Oops. You know what I mean? He had a condo, because he made money as an actor. Whoops, that's huge. Huge. That's a huge mountain to climb. But when I watched that dude, he became a star when he accepted that award. And in my own little small way, I'm sitting there in freaking Richmond, Virginia, shooting Cheap Eats too, and I'm happy as a clam, dude. I'm happy as a clam, just going, dude, this dude won a freaking award, and I'm freaking running around the country making a food TV show. Wow, life's sweet. You know what I mean? I'll just say that. I'll just say that. So it's a thrill to see that dude. I mean, like, I've held his awards. You know how heavy Emmy is? It's very heavy. Very, very heavy. It's weird. Yeah, he's dude's got an assistant. You know what I mean? He is, and like, that was 19. I can't even imagine. I don't know if I can get him in the house. I got him in the house in 2019. I'm not sure I'll be able to get him in the house in 2025. But yeah, like, that show's like kind of sci-fi-y, and it is hard to watch. But I will add this little other element too, little tangential. But if you want to focus on watching a show, my little trick, watch it on your phone. Because if you watch it on your phone, you can't do anything else on your phone.
Mm.
Boom. I found myself crushing movies on the plane because there's no distraction. Like, you download it, you're stuck there, and I'm like, here we go. I watched Boyhood, 3-hour movie. Watched it on the plane. Oh, and you know what? I'll say this for all the dads out there. I think watching Boyhood is homework. It's 3 hours. Watch it on your phone or turn your phone off. And for my guy, is it Sandusky who's trying to, like, maybe stay off the
No,
phone?
it's not Jerry Sandusky. It's Alex from Sandusky,
Yeah,
Ohio.
yeah. I just wait. See, as soon as you said Sandusky, I was like, oh yeah, Sandusky, Ohio. But for Alex in Sandusky, Ohio, watch Boyhood on your phone as your way to stay off the doom scrolling, because that's, that way you're actually doing something. Boom, there you go.
I would like to go rewatch Boyhood. I saw Boyhood once in the theater. We got there late, and so my wife and I can't even imagine. I guess they oversold. We sat on the steps. I remember, like, we sat on the steps watching Boyhood. Like, kind of crouching. But it was good. It was very good. I remember.
Did you get any, like, like, refund, or at least like a free popcorn?
No.
What kind of? I mean, this is the modern. When did that movie come out?
It was before I had kids, so before 2018.
Okay, but I just, I'm thinking in the era of Alamo, where, like, people are serving you food. How could that even happen? Because even at AMC, they're like, "You want a beer?" I'm like, "Aren't you AMC?" He goes, "Yeah, but we're in the age of Alamo." You know what I mean?
I think theaters have gotten a lot nicer post-pandemic because movie theaters took such a hit that they were
Sure.
like, if you can watch anything at home, we may as well make this worth your while. The seats are super comfortable. You reserve your specific seat.
Yeah.
They've got the very nice food. It's like a luxurious. I mean, if you're gonna go spend $20, which is the cost of the entire movie to rent on your TV,
Yeah.
it might as well be a nice
I
little
What's
experience.
funny is how the experience is now so expensive, you know? Like, because you do have a couple beers, and then I get hungry, and then all of a sudden you're like, and I would actually counter, like, I mean, okay, is the food better than that spinning hot dog show that they used to serve? Sure. Okay, definitely. Definitely. But at the same time, like, you're paying for it, and then you're like, why did I pay? There's always regret. You get two tabs. So first is for us the 3 tickets, so that's 60 right there. And then there's like I read a tab, and that's another 70 on a couple beers. And I remember when I went to Moana when I had to watch the really little kid stuff, and I was like, Daddy's gonna do this right. And I remember I shamelessly ordered the bucket of beer. My wife's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, I'm watching Moana. Give me the bucket. I was like, just give me the bucket. Let's just get this done. You don't have to bother with me. I'll be here. I'll get through the whole movie. And it
Did
was a
you
struggle
see?
at the end. I was like, I gotta wrap these up. Like I'm running out of movie, and I still had 2 beers left. Yeah, I drank a bucket of beer at Moana. Wow, shocking.
Did you see Moana 2?
Uh, Fortunately, sometimes some of these movies tend to like blend, and I'm like, did
Oh,
I
you'd
see this?
remember. You'd remember, Ali, because I'll tell you, I did see Moana
Then
2.
no, it was
All
bad,
right.
huh?
I took both my children to see Moana 2. All right. We were
Yeah,
very excited. We
yeah.
went with some other kids and their parents, and it was an outing. And here's what I'll tell you about Moana 2. Uh, Not good. It's not good. For
Really?
lots of reasons.
So
And
Moana 1 was that much better.
I mean, it's a great. There's a reason they made Moana 2, right? Because Moana 1, also known as just Moana, where they should have stopped, was wonderful. Great songs, great story, great characters, all the things, right? So we go to see Moana 2 in the theaters, and it's just terrible. Like, the songs are bad, there's no story, like, it's a little bit of a retread. I have to go on this adventure in this sea. It's like, they kind of coasted on, oh, everyone's gonna be so excited to see The Rock again.
Yeah.
Oh, as the demigod. Not really. And so it wasn't good. And then, and this is a big spoiler, so anybody who wants to go see Moana 2 and not have me spoil it, just, fast forward a few minutes, I guess. But so my wife texted after, how was the movie? I was like, not good. And I said, Cece was really upset. Moana dies. And she's like, ha ha. Okay. I go, no, she dies. Moana dies and comes back as a god, as a demigod, right? Which, you know, is a bold move. She transforms, gets these tattoos, and I didn't really know what to say to my kids. And, I guess the silver lining is, well, she's not really dead because now she'll live forever as a demigod. But the whole thing is she sacrifices herself for her people. I mean, but anyway, and then thankfully I did find out, because I was like, I can't believe Lin-Manuel Miranda, did this. And someone was like, he didn't. He didn't do this. He was busy with Mufasa and all his other projects. They got someone else. And I was like, oh, that's what happened. It's like when they did all the direct-to-video, Aladdin 4,
Oh
and
yeah.
Manny
Oh,
Castellana was doing the voice instead of Robin Williams.
got
Um,
it.
and it was like, it was fine. And look, it's direct-to-video. It's VHS. It's not supposed to be good. But
Right.
Moana 2, now that was supposed to be good. Frozen 2, good. Moana 2, not good. Very upsetting. I still think it made a ton of money, but
Yeah.
very terrible film. I will go on record.
I gotta say, as a huge pivot, you made a fantastic dad move when you told your daughter, no, it's better because now she can't die because she's a god. Like that's that's brilliant on a lot of levels, and I think we could revisit that scenario. I mean, that could be put in the screenplay. You know what I mean? It's like, the girl's crying. He goes, no, it's fine because when now you can't be killed. It's like getting the tooth pulled. life's better, when you're not alive, because you can't die. Like you could explain that to like when her pet turtle dies. Like, well, it's sad that the turtle died, but now the turtle's turtle god, and he's omnipotent, and he is forever. Like you could almost go straight biblical. You could go into some Old Testament fantasy about how this turtle is just ever living. And just and really it's a testament to the power of faith. That's all we can do for our kids is, as parents, we're in a 15-round fight, and the only way we get through it is faith. I think it's all about boxing movie metaphors.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm getting a little worried that everything boils down to boxing for parenting with you. But we're gonna
they
go
make great movies. You know it, and I know it. And I wish the people at Moana 2 know it, instead of having her die and giving her a couple, Maori tattoos or whatever they were going for. I feel like there was some sort of Pacific Islander thing. But yeah, let's just stick to. I love the Jake Gyllenhaal boxing movie. That's a tough one to take your daughter to, but some good father-daughter scenes in that fine film. What was that thing called? Not Jigsaw. It was some
If
one
only
word
there were a
name.
machine that could instantly tell us the
We
name
don't do,
of
but
this
see, we're
film.
not trying to get distracted.
Right.
Southpaw. Boom. See, I use the old brain.
Did that really just come to you?
Yeah, literally.
Impressive.
Southpaw. I like
Impressive.
that movie a lot. Watch it on the old Netflix, probably
Never seen
on the phone. Oh yeah, it's a good one. Jake Gyllenhaal. Like, I was watching some interview of him, and they're like, "Are you still in the shape you're in for the movie?" And he's like, "No." Like he was. Like, it's crazy. Like Conor McGregor level. Like, I was like, wow. I mean, Jake was never like, he wasn't like some big fatty. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like, that was some Marine SEAL Team 6, like craziness to get to that kind of level. Kind of struggling with the plateau myself, Neil. I'm like, what is it? Why can't I get to that extra level? Maybe it's because I have 5 beers to watch Moana. That might be holding me back.
Yeah, it might be. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of holding you back, let's pivot to one of our favorite topics,
Hmm.
meat. Scott
Oh,
from
yeah.
St. Paul. You know Scott from St. Paul?
It's ringing a bell. Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Twin Cities guy. Yeah, good guy. Great guy.
Love this guy. Ollie, I've been obsessed with barbecue for years. I love perfecting my brisket, trying new rubs, even traveling for the best ribs in the country. But now that I have a
Uh-oh.
2-year-old and a wife who isn't into barbecue as much as me, I feel guilty spending time and money on something that's just for me. How do you balance keeping your passion alive without it feeling like you're taking time away from your family? Your passion specifically, in this case, being brisket.
Yeah, know that feeling well. I end up having to go to a lot of like food events, stuff like that solo. It just happens. You gotta juggle it, my friend. And I'll say this: the light at the end of the tunnel of when you are gonna miss going to Memphis in May, or taking a visit to Moo's Craft Barbecue in Los Angeles, when you wanted to go with your buddies or whatnot, is maybe you'll have a supportive family that'll treat you to an amazing gift. I just had a friend of mine who lives in LA who makes barbecue like as a sideline project. As a Father's Day gift, he was gifted a trip to take a barbecue workshop here in Austin, Texas. And so, I think eventually, and maybe not eventually, maybe super soon, your family will realize, and we all do this, we all have to make our sacrifices for other people. It's a beautiful thing. And you can't always just do whatever it is that particular passion of yours says, I want to do this right now. And, but, you may be rewarded in the near future with something pretty cool like that. So, look, barbecue ain't going nowhere. In fact, it's blowing up. It's everywhere. It's all over the place. And there's so many great ways to experience it. I'll give you this one, a little shout out. Kevin's Barbecue Joints is a great podcast. It's on YouTube, and he does pitmaster interviews with the most elite barbecue people around the country. So plenty of ways to get your fix while you're still being the world's greatest dad. So, we all got to sacrifice a little bit here and there, but you don't always, you're never going to lose who you are. Your family's going to recognize what makes you happy, and they'll make room for that too.
And should he be feeding the brisket to his kid? I mean, maybe
that's the other thing too, is, you could always parlay some of that passion into Saturday dinner. That's one thing. That's one cool thing about being into food, is that it's a practical passion. We all got to eat. We all got to eat. It's, especially in this day and age, with how much it costs, how much everything costs. Dining out is, dude, I'm going out for barbecue is expensive. Hey, I'll say that. I mean, you're just buying. It's expensive on the restaurants. It's expensive on a customer. But yeah, I mean, I'd start cooking more at home. It'll keep you at home. Keep you at home. Keep you in the good graces with the fam.
Unless your family is vegetarian.
Yeah, that's well, you know what? One of the most elite barbecue places in the country, won a Michelin star. They have fantastic vegetable dishes. This guy smoke roasts cauliflower, which may not sound amazing, and you eat it, and the thing is, he does, his barbecue is he sources really, really good proteins, and he does the same thing for vegetables because he's a fine dining chef. So yeah, there's ways. I mean, look, barbecue is just primal cooking, man, fire food, right? And no one ever said it just had to be, a cuddly creature that you have to eat. It could be just some big, mean plant that deserved to be ripped from the earth and washed of its dirt, chopped up, put in a smoker. That's my way of making vegetarian food feel like hunting, gathering kind of vibe.
What's that restaurant called?
Leroy and Lewis. Leroy and Lewis. It's billed as New School Barbecue. They won a Michelin star. One of the first Michelin finally came to Texas. And actually, the barbecue scene was rewarded quite handsomely. No restaurants in Texas won a 2 or 3 star, but there were a few restaurants that took 1 star, and majority of them were barbecue, actually. And Leroy and Lewis is actually featured them on Best Thing I Ever Ate back when. It's kind of funny too. They're a great restaurant. They've had a lot of success. They finally opened a brick and mortar. For some reason, I was looking up the Lewis. It's 2 people who own it, Evan Leroy and Sawyer Lewis. And for some reason, her LinkedIn popped up, and it's a picture of her and me on the set of Best Thing I Ever Ate, which I was like, really? That's your LinkedIn picture? Just him and her and me, probably wearing the same shirt, you know what I mean? But I don't know, I was pretty tickled to see that. I was like, get out of here. Look at that. But yeah, they're a pretty fantastic spot. Not what you typically would expect, because they do all these. You're not going to go there and get oh, here's mushy green beans, mac and cheese, and barbecue sauce covered everything. It's a lot more fancier, but very good. I mean, definitely some of the top of the game stuff happening over there.
Nice. Well, eat your vegetables, kids.
Yeah,
especially if they're coming out of a smoker.
Yeah. They can be good. They can be good.
Alrighty, let's get back into the dad stuff. Nelson from Chicago asks, how do you deal with friends who are constantly complaining about their kids and marriage? I've got some friends lately that it seems like all they do is complain about how tough their life is or how annoying their kids are. I don't want to scold them. I get that maybe they need to vent, but I find myself feeling really negative after we hang out. And I'm not a dumping ground for their feelings either. Try to keep the vibes positive and shift the conversation to what's good about their life. But I worry that this is me just doing the toxic positivity thing. I've tried being positive about my own kids and wife, but then that feels like bragging. So what should I do? Do I say something or just nod and smile? Should I just get new friends?
I mean, I hope it's not all across the board, my friend. I mean, I feel like we all find those people eventually, and it's just gonna say it. Sometimes you have these kind of like they eventually turn into like toxic relationships. You just have these people that are like maybe they see you as a place to vent, but at some point you kind of hit your limit as well. It's tricky. You really have to kind of assess that situation, and it can't go on. I certainly even at the ripe age of 47.10, I don't know if it's a point 12, 12 months I'm here. Like I can't. Yeah, there's still people where I'm like, I just can't. This guy's not. He's not moving the needle. I don't think it's worth it to keep engaging. There's a lot of toxicity out there. And yeah, at some point you have to really say to yourself, like, is this good for your own well being? And look, I think a little nudge to say, I feel you, but I can't do this all the time. You know what I mean? It's a little negative is fair. I mean, it's how you're feeling. Look, if this guy gets to dump their feelings, I think you can too. You're not their therapist, right? And maybe that's what they need, or they need like a professional to help process this stuff. But yeah, no, I mean, let's be honest too. Like, I think we're overloaded with toxicity, social media, all that crap. And yeah, you gotta take care of you. You know what I mean? Take care of you. No one wants to have that hard cut off. It seems harsh and things like that, but you gotta have some priorities. Like, I've done it. At some point I'm just like, this guy's no bueno. All the time you could be spending on something that would improve your own perspective. You know what I mean? You need nourishment too. And yeah, I'll just say this, like, if dude can dump on you, then you can give a little back and say, hey, want to be there for you, but it's just a nonstop flow of negativity. What's going on with that? Maybe you need to seek something that will maybe create some change, because do you want it to keep going on like this? And again, you're a friend, not a therapist. So I would certainly understand that distinction, because life's short, my friend. I mean, I don't want to go all Ricky Gervais, but you could be walking down the street and someone's like, hey, look out for that piano. What piano? Splat. So yeah, let's just, let's have a little more room in our life to maybe watch Moana 2 and see if Neil is just off his damn rocker. You like how I tied that back in? That was a good one. Tied it back in.
I'm actually just Googling right now if anyone's ever died from a falling piano, or if this is
It
yes,
feels like a New York City thing. Like, that would only happen in Manhattan, like or a super
say
dense
that.
city.
You say that,
Where it happened,
but
Des
in
Moines.
1912, Ollie, David Jones, 35-year-old man from Yukon, Idaho, was killed when a piano fell from a wagon and crushed his skull. Jones was helping load the piano into the wagon when it fell on him. Let's see if there's any others.
I was more thinking you never saw it coming. You know what I'm saying? That was like, he was involved in a dangerous trade. Yeah.
Yeah, there's it's not just him. This is Juanita Buncombe.
Where'd you come up with these names? These sound like some of the fine folks who were asking us. Juanita Buncombe?
This is true. Yeah, hold on. This is real. These are real people.
Juanita Buncombe.
Juanita Buncombe. This is true. And where was she? In Kirkland County. I don't know where that is. Hold on, I'm gonna tell you. Oh, of course it won't load. Where's Holly Grove? Holly Grove.
These are also these kind
Arkansas?
of like.
I don't know. I mean, I think a woman was killed. I mean, you're making light of people being killed by pianos, but I
was
think
questioning their names, not the way they died. I mean, and the veracity of it.
Okay.
It is the internet. There's AI out there. I don't know what sites you've been on. This all affects the algorithm. Always room for conspiracy theory. That's how I'll get out of any jam.
Yeah.
If I do something wrong, I'll be like, I think it may have been AI. You know, I don't think that was me saying it. They took my image. You know, there it is. Wow, I wonder if that's where we'll get to.
Yeah, I think you probably have to go if you have this parent-teacher conference. Am I right?
I think you're right. I think you're actually right. It's a stacked day for me today. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. I literally like was looking at some things and I'm like, well, I'm a responsible. This dad is a busy dad today. You
Sure.
know,
Yeah.
which you know I would like to talk about Juanita Buncombe more. Perhaps we can revisit that. But
Yeah.
I'm happy to talk. I'm happy that we were able to make sure someone who loves brisket can still be around to watch their daughter grow up. That made me happy
And
today,
eat his brisket.
and it's great to know like you are a nimble dad. You know, I'm gonna say I wish I had a creature that died, and my son was young enough where I could allude to the fact that they're probably some sort of immortal god. Although I think the plot line of Moana helped support your theory, but I just think it's a cool broad theory to approach death. Two great things that I think came out of this episode. Plus, we got to see our RSS feed, which is nuts.
Like
Um,
and subscribe.
yeah,
Uh,
and Able Bunny Media
those
did
are
a
funny.
bang up job with the graphics, so big shout out to that team. Um,
Crushing it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's amazing to link up with those fine folks from the Philippines. No, they're not in the Philippines. We are a made in the USA production. That's a guarantee. That's a guarantee. That much I can promise. I can promise you that, folks.
No outsourcing. What's his teacher's name who you're meeting with?
I mean, it's like his advisors. You know, he's an
He
yeah.
has a team of advisors?
Yeah, I mean, they all have these advisors that they meet with in the morning, and then they go off to their individual classes, the
Oh wow.
English, the pre-algebra,
This
the
school is no
history.
joke.
I mean, it's seventh grade. I mean, you know, you go to seventh grade, and it's going to have stuff like that too. So,
I
you
don't
know,
know. Sounds
you've got a few
fancy.
years. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, but no dress code. My school had a dress code. That now I think dress code days are gone. They're
I don't know.
gone.
I went to public school. I don't know anything.
Oh, your SAT scores speak for itself. You know, some institutions are clearly efficient enough.
That's right.
Neil is proof.
We'll leave it there. 1350. Bye
I
bye.
know, 1350. Love it.